you're going to look stupid. You may not know this, but I survived brain cancer. So I had a malignant glioblastoma brain cancer, lost the ability to communicate for a little while. So you hear I trip over a lot of my words and stuff still. You can't use that as an excuse. But if you're trying to get that brand built, start getting out there. Same thing with me. When you're the guy that every single day is putting out good quality content, you're providing value over and over again. You don't have to work on your personal brand.
Hi, Curtis. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Mark? Man, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you, but I have a bone to pick with you. You are a personal brand expert. And these days, everywhere I go, everybody's talking about branding. How do I brand myself? What does that even mean?
Man, and I get that a lot. I've had podcast hosts that say they don't want to have me on. I reach out or they've reached out. They're going, screw you guys, bunch of fakes, bunch of con artists. You're helping people show up as something that they're not. Basically, the biggest thing is you have a personal brand, whether you choose to build it or not. So let me give you a quick story here. So I used to own some retail stores, and one of our main competitors we did a lot of international money transfers, mobile as a prepaid wireless business. One of our competitors was sucking up a ton of these prepaid wireless customers I found out later telling everybody that I was a racist and I would not allow Mexican people into my store. And so my best friend was Mexican. We were hanging out. He was born in Cholula or in Tijuana. And to me, obviously not racist, but this company was sucking up a ton of our customers by the good, profitable customers, thinking that I wouldn't allow them into my store. So I went up there the one day and I put my business card on. I talked to this other store owner. I said, hey, do you know anything about Best Cellular, about this phone company? I just came from the store down in Hotchkiss there. Didn't tell him I owned the store, but just came from the store. What do you know about them? And so this manager goes into this rant about what a racist bag loser this store owner is, won't allow Mexicans in the store. Heard the exact thing that I just heard from my buddy. And I'm like, man, this guy sounds like a real dirtbag. What a loser. This guy should be canceled immediately. We need to shut that store down if this is true. And then so we talked and he's just rambling about what a terrible person the owner of this store is. And we got done with our conversation there. I said, man, you guys look like you've got some good international rates. Unlimited calling back and forth is awesome. If you guys ever need any help, or I'd love to send some customers back and forth, my name's Curtis. I put my card on the table. I'm Curtis McCoy, president of Best Cellular. The guy starts looking, just stuttering, didn't know what to say. But what I realized, rather than getting mad at that guy, I realized he was just doing business. But he was building a personal brand for me, and I had no control over it because he was putting out, once he had spread this rumor, he had other people spreading the rumor that were also thinking I was this loser that it sounded like I was. But I realized back then that you have to control your personal brand. Somebody's talking about you, whether it's the stuff that you want to be said or not. So you got to build your own brand.
So it's almost if we are not control of the story that's being told about us, somebody else is writing a story, which is not a place we want to be in.
Unless you are doing nothing with your life, if you're not impacting anybody, you're not affecting anybody's lives, you're just hanging out, standing in the corner, then you probably don't have to worry about your brand because nobody's talking about you. But if you're doing good stuff, somebody's saying good stuff, somebody's saying bad stuff, you need to help control that narrative with what you're putting out there.
So when it comes to a brand, like there is a brand for the company and there's a brand for person, right? And whether we look at the company, most companies, they're just talking about the same thing, quality and service and exceptional and this and that. And when it comes to the person, even buzzwords, exactly. When it comes to the person, even that's what conjures up in the mind of people when usually we talk about brands. And when we're talking about personal brand, we're talking about honesty and integrity and a good person. That's not what it is. So tell me a little bit about if I was listening to this podcast and I'm a business owner and I'm just getting started and I want to be ahead of the game right from the beginning. What are the first couple of things I should be doing? First, figure out what my brand is, and then be able to spread that.
So give me an example business owner, name, age, his occupation, his target customer. Give me the exact customer that's listening, or the exact listener right now that's listening to you that would need to build his personal brand.
Why don't we just go with me? This way I can give you the straight answers. Right?
Okay.
So Mark, I'm 38 years old. My ideal client are entrepreneurs who are looking to live a well-rounded life, which is health, wealth, and relationships.
Awesome. Now, what is the business that you're promoting? What's your way you're monetizing the podcast? Is it just the podcast or?
It's podcast, and through that, we're going to sell some products. I'm in real life, I'm a business coach. So there's a sales product, there's a marketing product, there's a public speaking product, there's a social media product.
Okay.
The idea is that people listen to the podcast, they understand the type of people we work with, they understand the type of work we do, and if they like it, they come learn from us.
So if you are now I'm talking to you as you're not here. If I am Mark,
Yeah.
I'm getting on every single day. This is something you can do for free. My main specialty is in paid media. So I do interview people on Amazon Fire TV, put them on the 96-foot billboard in Times Square, New York, get them on the cover of Newswire magazine. This stuff all costs money. But if you're just getting started out, had zero budget, just trying to figure out what to do, I would get on, grab your cell phone in the morning. And even if you don't have a nice camera, your podcast set up right now, if you go, hey, morning, this is Mark. I just want to give you guys a tip on sales. If you're trying to figure out how to close more business, here's something you can do in 30 seconds or less. Here's a sales tip. The next morning you get on, hey, morning, this is Mark. I'm going to give you guys a marketing tip. Here's some tips where you can really market your business and help whatever, take it to the next level. Next morning, hey, good morning. Here's a public tip. You guys know me, this is Mark. Here's a public speaking tip. Now here's whatever you do to close more leads, whatever. Now, when you're the guy that every single day is putting out good quality content, you're providing value over and over again. You don't have to work on your personal brand. You're documenting your journey, providing solutions, helping people reach their goals. Now, who's the guy that's going to be hired when somebody decides they've been watching on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever every day for the last year? Now they think, man, I'm trying to start my business. I don't really know anything about sales or how to close those leads. Wonder who I should contact. It's going to be the guy that has been in their feed over and over, providing value again.
So in this example, the brand is that I am providing service. I am of use. I have this knowledge. I'm in your feed all the time. Therefore, the brand in this case gets recognition so that when somebody wants to hire similar type of service, they think of me first.
Exactly. The same thing works with an electrician. If you're just starting an electrical business and you're getting on every day, hey, this is Bob. I was just going to tell you about the difference, how much electricity you can save by switching from incandescent to LED bulbs. Hey, if you're looking to switch out a circuit breaker, you've got whatever the problem is. If that guy's putting out information over and over again, he's going to be the guy that they hire whenever they need an electrician.
Let me ask you this then, now that we have given away the secret, right? And someone else is listening to this and they're like, I want to start a podcast and do the same thing. And they get on camera and now they are interviewing and giving out the tips. What's the next level of branding that I need to do to be able to differentiate myself from the 20 other people who are doing that?
So there's quite a few things there. Part of that, when you get to a certain level where your time is more valuable than taking the time to record, edit, and then publish these clips every day, you'll get where you're making more money pretty soon than you can have time to be doing that and still be profitable. It's like the lawyer's out on the front yard talking to his neighbor, and this freaking man, I hate cutting this stupid grass every week. This waste of my dang time. He's out there sweating, didn't even change out of his suit, pushing it, kicking stuff out of the lawn, ticked off. The neighbor comes up and he says, hey, Bill, you're a lawyer, right? How much, you mind if I charge, or you mind if I ask what you charge an hour? Yeah, it's $180 an hour. Okay, cool. Now I see you out here every week cussing, kicking the dog toys out of the yard, cutting your lawn. Why are you wasting your time doing this? Somebody's got to cut the yard. The kid down the street cuts my yard every week for $20 and he is super happy to do it. And it looks better than yours when he's done with it. Why are you doing your own lawn cutting? So you kind of have the same thing as you're building your personal brand. When you start putting out good content over and over, pretty soon, unless you're a guy that does editing and that's what you do as a business, hire somebody else that's really good at it to take that work off your plate. For example, there's a lot of places, I do this with some of my clients. They'll come in, we'll shoot 4 to 6 hours worth of video. They'll fly in across country. We'll shoot these videos. I've already got scripts written up for them. And this is not my main business. I'm not trying to gain more clients like this, but there's a lot of people that do it. Come in, you shoot hours worth of content, just reading off. Okay, let's talk about branding. Let's talk about marketing. Let's talk about sales. Let's talk about public speaking. Give them these short clips. Now send them off. I have them edited into these short viral social media clips that can be posted online for them. And now this guy that's making a ton of money isn't have to worry about how to learn Instagram marketing.
That's wonderful. Branding also has to do a lot with feelings and emotions, because at the end of the day, good marketing and good sales is about connecting with somebody at that emotional level. So now let's talk about the next level entrepreneur. We talked about somebody who's beginning, starting to create content, everything by themselves, being in people's feed. The next step is to be able to hire some of that out, right? Free up more of your time. Now we're talking about the third step. How do we create a brand that speaks to somebody emotionally? What are some exercises that you do with your clients to be able to help them figure that out?
No, that's not actually what I do. I'm not coaching clients on how to, I speak at events all over the country. I've spoken at Caesar's Palace. I'm speaking at another event here and next week. That's basically on how to start your personal brand. The clients that I'm working with are guys who are, say, authors, entrepreneurs, motivational speakers, podcast hosts, business leaders, people who are already athletes, singers, people who are crushing it in life and business, but need a larger audience to reach on a either regional, maybe a global scale. So with those, that's where to qualify to work with us, you have to already have a service, some kind of a profitable service that you can monetize off of the publicity. If you're just getting your brand started, I would say it's not the time to start spending money on paid media. Work on the earned media where you're doing stuff to earn the placement. But when you get to where you've got the budget to spend and you're making, if you could reach 1 million people, you're going to make a ton of money off of that. Now you reach out, do an interview with us on Amazon Fire TV. That's a permanent syndication. It goes on our verified YouTube channel, got the check mark, all that stuff, but create a search engine optimized page, driving traffic back to your site. When somebody Googles your name, they land on our page that drives them back to your link, helps monetize that interview. Same thing with Newswire magazine. If you're on the cover of a magazine that's featuring these big dog leaders, guys that are Ken Jocelyn has got hosting the GSD Create conference. We got all these big dogs that now when you're featured alongside of them and you've got 100,000 plus readers a month hitting that article, that's a good source of traffic. So it's a multi-step deal. Pretty much everybody, you're not starting with millions of dollars to spend on marketing or even 4 or 5 figures. But yeah, as you're growing, then you get more chances to invest your money a little bit more wisely.
It makes sense. The more number of eyeballs you have on you, the more potential customers you have. By paid media, you're essentially bringing those eyeballs to the person who already has a profitable product so that they can now monetize that. For those who are still understanding how the world of advertising works, right? If we were just to walk them through that, there's the world of paid media and there's the world of earned media, right? And there are pros and cons to both of them. You have been in this industry for a very long time. So what is your take on the pros and cons? And if somebody is at a place in life and they're trying to decide which way to go, what are some do's and don'ts? Because there's a lot of other PR agencies out there who say a lot of things, but they don't come through, right? So how does one navigate this world?
So the biggest thing is just like you remember back when Instagram verification was not something you could just pay for $15 a month or whatever, where it actually took a ton of earned media to get the check mark, or you spent tens of thousands of dollars. I had guys quote between $15,000 to $35,000 to get that check mark through the earned media and stuff. But I also had people reaching out weekly who would say, "Hey, Tim Curtis McCoy, I just want to let you know I can get you verified on Instagram and it's only going to cost you $500. That's a ridiculously good deal. I could buy that and resell that service to everybody I know if it cost me only $500. But then you look at the guy's profile. He's got 17 followers, 3 posts, and doesn't have a check mark himself. So either the guy is lying to you or he doesn't believe in the service. He doesn't believe that the service he's selling is worth what he's charging you for it. And I guarantee it's cheaper for him. But the point of that is he's probably lying if the guy doesn't have the fruit on the tree using his own service. So if you're searching one of these advertising agencies, don't Google just their brand name. Google some of the things that they offer. And if they don't rank in the top page, if you search M. Curtis McCoy, if I'm not in the first 10 results of Google, like all 10 of them, I don't exist. It means I'm lying to you. I don't know how to do what I'm telling you I can do. So just do your research and see if somebody's actually ranking where they say they can rank you and if they've got clients doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, that's a really good tip, especially because when it comes to a lot of PR agencies are reaching out, telling you that you can put you in a certain magazine here and there. And that's appealing to an entrepreneur because you want to be able to be featured. So when it comes to paid marketing, even paid media, not all is the same because some of those articles expire after a certain amount of time. What are some other do's and don'ts that you think, having been in this world for so long, one should be looking out for or one should be looking for if they want to go with something like this?
So here's one that tricks a lot of newer entrepreneurs who don't understand search engine ranking, domain authority. They'll get in, somebody reaches out and say, "Hey, I've got an article. I can feature you in this, whatever this article in Forbes, Fortune Inc., whatever the magazine is." You're going, "Holy cow, for only $3,500, I can get featured in this publication." What they don't realize is it's typically they're offering a listicle, which is a list of entrepreneurs or a list of whoever. One reached out a while back saying that they had offered to put me in the list of I think it was the top 50 top 50 real estate agents. I am not a realtor. I have never sold a home. I own a home, but I've never sold a home. I could have paid to be included in this listicle of the top 50 real estate agents in one of these magazines just by paying the money. But I guarantee you there's not a person in the world that's reading that article and hiring these realtors off of that list of realtors. The only people that ever going to read that is going to be you and maybe your mom or your neighbor that you've sent the link to. Nobody else could care less about it. So in the media, you need to have, if you're on a podcast episode, if you're contributing in a blog post, if you're featured in a magazine article, whatever you do, make sure that your name is at least in the heading, but hopefully at the beginning of it. So it'd have Mark. What's your last name, Mark?
Talukdar. Yeah.
Okay. So Mark Delazar talks about whatever 10 lessons on sales and marketing from Mark.
Mhm.
Now you've got that in the title. Now your name is ranking on that article and helping to drive search traffic to your name.
Yeah.
But if I submit an article that says I write the best article ever, get that published in Fortune, whatever, but my name is not in the heading, there's a
Mhm.
huge lack of credibility, huge lack of domain authority being referred over from the links. So get your name in the title, get your name listed throughout their full name, full business name, listed a few times throughout the article if you possibly can.
Let me ask you this question, and this is a problem that I have faced, and that also I know I'm very active in entrepreneurial circles, especially with immigrants who have names that are very difficult to spell and pronounce. And oftentimes, just end up starting a company that is a much easier name to spell instead of branding it after themselves. Do you recommend that they have two different websites and they redirect, or what is your opinion on that?
I would not even do a redirect. Two websites. If you've got, I think I own 58, 59 different domains still, 4 different landing pages, different businesses, products, services, but you should absolutely have 2 social media profiles. So you need a personal, if you're on Facebook, you need a personal Facebook page, a first personal Facebook profile, and a business page for your business. You post more of your social stuff, your pictures of your dog, picture of your kid doing something fun at school, post that on your personal profile. On your business profile, if that's something that's a lifestyle type of a brand, then yeah, post some family stuff. Say you're talking about success. You should probably be posting some stuff if you get to go drive a cool car, or if you're hanging out at the beach, you're on vacation, you're speaking at an event, post some personal stuff and then also your business stuff on that business page. But on the business page, you would not post anything like, just messed up my coffee again. These guys are always making my whatever the problem is. It'd be stupid to post that personal junk that you probably shouldn't be posting anyway, but don't post that on business page. Same thing with your websites. You need a page where anytime anybody Googles anything related to your name, your website better be at the top of the search rankings, and then your business. And now you can tie those two together. Another little tip on the hosting. If you've got multiple hosting platforms, you're running different IP addresses, different actual geolocations for the servers, that's an advanced thing. But if you've hosted those in different places, now if you write an article about how you were just featured in this magazine, linking back to with your name as the reference text, linking back to your website, that's driving credibility from the 2 different locations that search engines aren't seeing as you being the owner of each one.
It's interesting. I didn't know that. So yeah, essentially for everybody listening, we're talking about search engine optimization and being able to create backlinks to be able to your sites to be able to create more credibility and boost visibility onto the Google search engine pages. You talked about having multiple websites, right? And we gave the specific example of somebody with a hard name that has created a company that has a different name. What should be the content? Do they mirror each other? Should they connect? What are your tips on that?
If they are mirroring each other, you don't have a use for one of them. Your name should be the personal brand where Richard Brunson is an example, the guy from Virgin Media, Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Galactic, Virgin Mobile was one of our main competitors. I was telling you about the story about me walking into that store, the guy telling me the rumor to my face about me and having no clue who I was.
Yeah.
So I was on the worst possible side of that lack of branding, where a guy 35 miles from my store at this other competitor had no clue he was telling the rumor about me to me. Now, Richard Brunson you may not agree with his lifestyle choices, being the playboy type of persona that he's put on there, but he has created a massive personal brand where people that agree with that lifestyle, anytime he launches a new company, he's automatically got a flood of new customers. But he's built his personal brand as the playboy, party guy, whatever, and then also the business mogul. And so the 2 of those are separate, but people recognize that brand is also his name. So for years, for example, this is easier to say when I've got an easy name to remember, like M. Curtis McCoy. If you've got a name, especially something that is not common spelling, not common in the country that you're in, that makes it even easier for you to rank when people start searching your name. And if you've got enough traffic, enough backlinks, enough mentions online, now when somebody searches your name, even if they type it in wrong, Google, Bing, the different search engines see that there's enough searches coming for your name that they're going to even redirect the improper spellings back to your website. You go, okay, this guy's obviously the authority on whatever the service you're offering is.
Yeah. And that's great, because that's a really good way to look at the problem differently. Instead of thinking that it's a handicap, it's actually a tool. There's so many John Does. It would be really hard to rank as a John Doe. If you have a unique spelling to your name, that makes it easier to rank. Going back to your life and the beginning of everything, you have started so many businesses. You have seen so many of them go successful. Your story behind getting into branding, was that your origin story when you were in front of that other guy in the cell phone store and they didn't know who you were? Was that the moment where you realized I got to put my name out there?
So I had built a cosmetic medical laser clinic, a pharmaceutical company manufacturing bioidentical white label injectable research peptides. We had a Christian clothing company, quite a few different successful businesses. I was sponsoring the MMA fights at the Denver Coliseum, sponsored pro bodybuilder Andy Hammond. He's passed away a few years back, but really great guy. So I was building these companies where people knew the name. I own the trademark on the term best cellular. So if, say, Verizon wants to say that they've got the best cellular service in the world, they can't say that. They've got to say they've got the nation's leading wireless coverage or something different. That's not my trademark term. So quote, I was building company brands that were successful. Yeah, when I walked in that store and realized that even my number one competitor, we had 250,000 customers a month hitting my website for the phone company when that happened, or just slightly shortly after that happened. So 250,000 customers a month hitting the site. People knew the name of the phone company. They just, nobody had any clue who owned it. Yeah, that was the origin story as far as where I realized if I'm having these problems and I understand how to build these successful companies like I did, guys that are just starting their first business probably really need some help building their personal brand as well.
I love it. I love it. And you are right, especially in today's world of Instagram and Facebook profiles, it's so easy to get lost and there's so much noise that to be able to cut through that noise and be able to stand out, the services you're offering is so meaningful and so helpful. Through all the companies that you started, for those who are listening and who are entrepreneurs, there's always a question about bootstrapping for money or raising money. What is your take, having started so many successful businesses? Is it a better idea to just get a loan, get an investor, have a chunk of money to throw into a business, or work your way up slowly through just your dividends that you're earning?
That completely depends on the business model. You got to look at what your set up your P&L, your performer, your get the business laid out, figure out exactly if it's going to be a good business idea. If you're building it, it's profitable. For one, as an example, I had just a side hustle when I had the cell phone company. I got online, we had people out in a rural area there where they were miles and miles from different towers. And you used to have to refresh the APN or refresh your connection on the cellular phones to get them to get the best service again. That could be done by just taking your phone, putting it in airplane mode for a couple seconds, turn it back off. It would reconnect the new towers. But we made an app called Signal Booster for Android. Then we made another app later, Signal Booster Reloaded, that did some other cooler features for updating the APNs and stuff. But on that one, I didn't take out any loan in it. I didn't know if it was even going to work or if there was only going to be a few people from our local retail stores using it. Built it up. I started realizing it was insanely profitable. And so I started buying advertisements, buying Google ads, buying just everything I could to market this app. And what I realized was we put in, for every dollar that I put in, almost $3 came back. So it was doing real. I actually had a letter from Google that we had ranked in the top 10 downloaded apps in the Google Play Store for a short time there. So they had changed it where now the phones all update automatically. They roll to the next nearest tower. So it's not something that's needed. But on that one, I was living in the back of one of my retail stores, making thousands of dollars, multiple thousands of dollars a day on this Android app, eating ramen noodles, sleeping in the back of the store. And I had a good buddy that was telling me, "Hey, man, you've always wanted this." I had this dream car that I was looking at. And you always wanted this car. Why don't you go get it? You got the money. I said, I don't have the money. Every dollar I put in, $3 comes back. I'd be an idiot to spend a nickel if I don't have to. So with that, I was driving this $300 piece of junk old truck. And the drive shaft fell out of it driving down the highway one day. Crazy old junker. I'm doing the ramen noodle peanut butter sandwiches, starving, making a ton of money like this because I realized every dime that I took in off of that app, if I threw that back at advertising, it was going to triple again the next month. So it just depends on your business. If you've got a business like that where if it's crazy profitable and you could put some advertising dollar in it and it multiplies, yeah, put a second mortgage on your house, whatever, try to throw some more money at it.
Makes sense. It's so interesting to talk to you because I get to talk to fellow entrepreneurs who are just cut from the same cloth, that there is something in them, something in you that just wants to keep creating things, right? And you could just take the easy way out, take the money, having all the successes you have had, and just live a nice, cushy, comfortable, quote unquote, life. But there's something within you that keeps on driving, like pushing you forward. What do you think is that entrepreneurial spirit within you that makes you want to keep going?
I'll tell you what really solidified that for me was after we shut down the phone company and I had paid cash for dream car. I'd bought my house. I didn't really have any real financial responsibilities that I had to worry about. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to retire. This has been a few years back, but okay, I've done what I was going to do. I was working 80 to 100 hours a week, for 10 years, I'm going to kick back. And I took almost a year and a half and decided I'm going to hang out, I'm going to read some books, I'm going to enjoy life, go just mess around, relax. I was more depressed and felt absolutely worthless at that time because I wasn't solving problems for people. So I'd say if you are, even if you've never started your own business, but you're working at a job and you're thinking, maybe I should try to start something. If you've got that desire, that's probably not that you're money hungry or you're unhappy with where you're at, but if you've got a desire to go, man, I could really help some people like this. I think that's the main desire, is hoping that you can, knowing that you've got a way to solve somebody's problems, and you not being in front of them is the reason that they're not, that they've still got the problem.
Yeah, it's just, there's a saying, like, a lot of people go through life looking to avoid pain, but there's a lot of us who are going through life looking to find pain because we want to challenge ourselves and then we want to solve that pain for somebody else. I think that's the thing. And that's what your branding story is about, that you felt the pain of somebody maligning your good name for no reason, that caused you to on a whole new mission in life to be able to not only make your name known for who you are, but also helping others.
And even that, the guy that was spreading those rumors, I'm sure wasn't a bad person. Maybe he was a dirtbag, but he was not spreading negative rumors about me because he hated me. He didn't even have any clue who I was. What he was doing was he realized the negative rumors were sucking up a lot of the profitable customers that were doing the international money transfers and the international calling service. People are talking about you sometimes not because they hate you or they dislike you or they dislike what you do. There's a benefit to them not doing business with you and doing business with them instead.
Of course, it's an unethical business practice, but it's a business practice. If
It
you
works.
can drive customers away from somebody else and bring it to yourself, you do it. It's unfortunate when people use lies, especially because some of these lies can hurt people, right? Depending on, in a completely parallel universe, when the political climate is not that great, somebody could have attacked you. And then that would be a whole different situation. So it really puts a completely different spin on branding. It's not just about looking good and feeling good. When it comes down to it, it could be about personal safety and also business safety. You could totally go out of business if somebody made the wrong moves and did some stuff to hurt your brand that way.
I think we had 3 stores at the time, but yeah, that could have easily put us out of business just with that one. You didn't have to be a member of that ethnic group to be offended about it. I was offended too. I'd like to slap the guy that, come to find out, was me, but I'd like to slap the racist that was not letting people in his store because of their skin color or something. And like I said, come to find out, like, oh, I'm the loser that everybody thinks is doing this. Yeah, there's so much to go with personal branding. Even right now, let's say you're running your Peak Performance Perspectives podcast right now, crushing it, business is great, and you decide in the future, you know what, I think I'd like to run for office. Now, if you've got no brand, no name, over the last 30 years, nobody has any clue who you are, and you decide to run for office, you see the political stuff on both sides. The stories are just terrible. They're doing everything they can to damage somebody's reputation. Now, if you're the guy that has, for the last even 10 years, if you've been running a business and you're teaching people all this stuff on sales, marketing, public speaking, positive stuff on leadership, you're helping them to be better people. And every day for 10 years, people are watching, man, Mark is the man that is always sharing good stuff. He's always solving problems. Now you run for office. If another candidate who has just stepped on the scene starts saying, oh, Mark used to be a thief. Like, no, here's a proven track record, 10 years of the guy providing value over and over. People automatically will trust you.
Absolutely.
Don't know what the future holds, but prepare for it anyway.
Yeah, 100%. We must be prepared. So for those listening, tell us a little bit about how they can work with you. What are the type of customers you work with? What are the type of services? I know we said it a little bit in the beginning, but for those who are listening and they're realizing I do need to invest myself and invest something into building a brand for myself, and they want to work with you, tell us the different ways.
So now, if you are somebody who, even if you're not to the point where you're making 6 figures a year yet, you get your business started, but you've got some type of a profitable offer that is helping people. We don't work with a dirtbag, even if doesn't matter what you pay. If we get on, we do the call. And after the call, you're sharing some tips on how you're able to screw customers or how you're able to trick them into doing something that's unethical or whatever. It's off the table. There is no opportunity to work with us. But if you're a good person, good business, offering solutions to people's problems, and you've got a way to monetize the traffic, you qualify to work with us. So what we do is we'd reach out to me on social media, Google me, I'm Curtis McCoy, look up Newswire Magazine, look up the Success, Motivation, and Inspiration Show on Amazon Fire TV. We got sites and lead forms and stuff for all that. The easiest thing is just send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Send me a message, say you'd like to work with me. We'll schedule a call and we'll get on, do like a podcast call like this. It'll either be me. I've got a few guys that do interviews. One guy's got a master's in broadcast journalism, so he's probably a little bit better than I am as far as the questions go. We'll schedule the call. We'll go through a nice video call. And basically just the goal is to draw out of you, highlight you as the expert in your field. If you sound like you're a good person that can help, then we'll offer that there's some different options based on budget, on who you're looking to reach. And then we'll put you, like I said, you can do everything up to Amazon Fire TV, 96-foot billboard in Times Square, New York, put you on the front cover of Newswire magazine. The cool thing with that too is all the sites are do follow links. So anybody that's an SEO techie guy, look at our sites. They're good do follow links that are passing domain authority from our site to yours. But yeah, just reach out and we'll see. We don't do a cookie cutter, one size fits all kind of a package. I guess that's another thing to look out for when you're talking to a personal branding agency. If you say, what are your prices? It's $49, $100, $500, or $1,000. Here's your options. That's probably not the company you want to work with because they're doing just cookie cutter, trying to stick everybody into a one size fits all type of thing. So get with a company that's working with your brand to figure out exactly how to get you in the best places that are going to drive the most relevant traffic to your site.
Absolutely. And as long as someone is ethical and someone has a good product to sell, is there any reason why they should hold themselves back from reaching out to you? Because a lot of times entrepreneurs think, maybe I'm too small, maybe I'm not there yet. Or is there any reality to those types of things?
We've had them a few times where, yes, sometimes, but I would say still reach out. The biggest problem people do right now is the biggest problem with personal branding is the fear of, I don't want to look stupid. They're afraid of getting on doing a video or a podcast because they don't want to look goofy. You're going to look stupid. You look at my previous videos, even from the last few years here. You may not know this, but I survived brain cancer. So I had a malignant glioblastoma brain cancer, lost the ability to communicate for a little while. So you hear I trip over a lot of my words and stuff still. You can't use that as an excuse. But if you're trying to get that brand built, start getting out there. Same thing with me. Get a call. If you've got a podcast, it's your first episode ever. You've got a product or service to sell that you know is going to be profitable and it's going to help people. It's solving problems for people. Send me a message. I had a guy the other day that got on, a real sharp kid. He's not making money yet. He wasn't sure if his landing page was able to close the clients or not, if he was able to profit from it, but he had the money. His parents were going to loan him money, like swipe a credit card to pay for it. I said, I don't think this is the right time. I would love to see, let's stay in touch for the next 6 months, get your business going as it takes off. And you've got the budget where you're not borrowing money from your parents, trying to figure out how to finance this on credit card payments. Then we'll revisit it again. Schedule a meeting. I will talk to anybody for any reason if there's a potential to help each other.
I love it. In a world where everybody's saying lies and in a world where people are promising things that they can never keep, you are here having built multiple businesses, telling the truth and genuinely offering your services and expertise to those who are in the right place at the right time to be able to help. So thank you so much for your kindness, for your generosity, for the services you provide. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Appreciate you, Mark.